Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and that the mother has went for a wall, came out, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
What's your, is it deemed?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being here. Please let me know if everything is good as far as sound and all that, moderators. And thank you, Mary J, for being a member for 4 months. It's good to see you. Lovely picture there as well. And hello, Jay, Adrian, Melanie, Pointer Lover, Christina, Sprinkled Donut. Good to see everybody. Paul, Zoe. Hey, everyone. I think I saw Debbie Fox here and Johnny is here. He said he'll be right back. Here's some tea to get everybody settled and started. Yes, pretty please hit that like button as you're joining. Hey, sweet Melissa and everyone. So, hey, Planet Jace. We are going through the written notes, and these were typed up directly from the Mistress. Hold on, let me share the screen from the discovery files. So I will be reading through these notes. This starts the supplementary report. Victim, let's see how it's labeled already. Victim, witness, Nicole Lee Kessinger, witness. So if this went to trial, the prosecution absolutely was going to use her as a witness for the prosecution side. I believe they were going to set the trial much like the Scott Peterson trial and use her as their Amber Fry, which sort of explains why she was Googling Amber Fry's net worth. Did people hate Amber Fry? Amber Fry book deal, you know, so there's a lot to kind of read through. So these are the pages. She told CBI agent Kopak that she had a timeline that she was going to print off for him. And this is that. And then once the investigation reached this part, she was handed over to Detective Baumhover, who was the homicide detective through the Frederick Police Department. So she went from being in the hands of the CBI agent, Kopak. No, he's not sick, Christina. He just gets sick of Watts. So, hey, Mar R, good to see you. And Margie, so glad to see you as well. Pointer Lover, I want to thank you again for the baby gifts that you sent. I really appreciate that. I just want to make sure that I thank you. It's so appreciated. Hello, Tony. All right, guys. If I don't say your name, then, you know, I'm just kind of trying to get into this. We've got some stuff to read through. So I will be reading this. Hey, Jacqueline. I don't want to keep this like white and black on the screen. So what I'm going to do is read it off the screen and just share different visuals to kind of make it more visually stimulating. What I'm going to do is just play the documentary that I put on mute, or that I had made on mute, and that'll be pinned in the description box, the top of chat, and in the comment section if you want to watch it off mute. So we'll just get some visuals from the case and the Mistress and all that while I read through those notes, because I just feel like the black and white just gets kind of boring, in my opinion. So, all right, let's get started. And again, just hit that like button. I'm going off screen. Here we go. So on September 4th, 2018, at approximately 1300 hours, I met with Nicole Kessinger at the CBI headquarters located at 690 Kipling Street, Lakewood, Colorado. I was introduced by CBI Special Agent Kobach, who had interviewed her several times previous to my introduction. I advised Nicole that I am now her point of contact regarding this case, and that CBI Kobach would attend to other cases he was assigned to at CBI. Nicole acknowledged this information and presented me a 7-page typed document she generated containing notes and events she had recalled since her last meeting with Special Agent Kobach. So this is already the 4th of September. You guys know that the crime was committed on August 13th. None of this stuff was mentioned in her verbal interviews. So all this stuff is kind of like come to her like later in life, later in time, and she's decided to lay it out for them in this 7-page document. The events documented reportedly occurred between 6/25, so June, through the time of the crime, so August 13th, it says. I advised Nicole I would review the notes she provided me along with the reports and recordings from all the previous interviews and contact her with any follow-up questions I may have. Nicole acknowledged my statement, and our meeting ended shortly thereafter. CBI agent Kobach agreed to complete a follow-up interview with Nicole's friend, who was Charlotte. We went through that interview a couple streams ago, and provided me with the reports. While at the CBI headquarters, I took custody of Nicole's cell phone, iPhone 6, which she had previously surrendered to CBI Special Agent Kobach. I placed the cell phone into evidence and entered the CBI chain of custody form into the case file. Nothing further. Whoops, forgot to press play on that. That's okay. It's a beautiful picture of Shanann. All right, continuing. This will be page 1. Now, this is all her words that she has typed up. Approximately June 25th or June 26th, 2018, in person, I asked Chris when he and Shanann had decided to separate. He told me late March and April 2018. I asked if he still lived with her, and he told me yes. First off, this is already starting off in June. Remember, we have a interview with one of Chris Watts' co-workers, Anthony Brown, who stated he saw them very close, standing close together, flirting all the way back, months before this in April, when she had just started working there. So right off the bat, she was very flirty with him at work. People had seen it. People witnessed it. They swore a signed affidavit to it being the truth. And yet here we have Nicole, who's stating that this timeline begins at the end of June. We also have text messages between Chris and NK that start before June. Start before June 26th, at least. So take it for what you will. I personally do not believe that their timeline was what they both stated. Carrying on. And hello, Keenly, and everyone else who's joined. Roro, good to see you guys. All right. So he said they still live together. Said that when she was home, he slept in a different room. And when she was gone, he would occasionally sleep in the master bedroom, but not frequently because the bed was uncomfortable. I asked why he had decided to separate from Shanann. Chris told me Shanann was bossy. I asked what he meant by bossy. Chris responded she was controlling, said that they didn't argue much, though, said that once many years ago he attempted to stand his ground with her and she told him to get out of my house and made him leave for the night. Chris said that he tried to avoid arguments ever since then, said that now if him and Shanann disagreed, she would make nasty comments to him and he would just ignore them. I asked if she talked like that in front of his kids. He said, yes, my kids started to repeat her words, and that is why I wanted the separation. asked him, now isn't that funny? Because that's not anything what Chris said that why they were separating. He said they fell out of love. The spark just wasn't there anymore. Never said anything about her talking nasty to him and the kids repeating it. Asked him what he said to his kids when she repeated Shanann's words. Chris said he would tell his children that it was not nice to say that to anybody. I asked Chris if Shanann was bossy in front of his friends. Chris said that Shanann was all about appearances in all aspects of her life, and that in front of her friends, she would occasionally be bossy, but she would turn it down into kind of a joke so that it was more discreet. I asked him how long the communication breakdown between them had been going on. Chris said 6 years and that the last year or two were the worst. I asked him if he had tried to communicate to her how it made him feel when she said mean comments to him. He said he tried to talk to her many times, but it fell on deaf ears. I asked Chris if they had attempted to go to counseling to fix their problems. Chris said no. Chris then said that some nights he would still currently hang out next to the bed in the master bedroom with her and would try to talk to her or spend time with her till she fell asleep. Chris tells me that the other reason he was separating is because Shanann hated that he liked to work out and eat healthy. Said that before they decided to separate, Shanann would get mad at him if he tried to go for a run at night once the kids were in bed. Said that Shanann felt it took away from their time that they should be spending together. Chris said that it was frustrating because he would try to hang out with her, but she didn't pay attention to him, and she would talk on the phone and scroll through her social media instead. Chris said that many times he would try to talk to Shanann, and she would not acknowledge him, and instead would reply with, "Were you talking to me? Because I wasn't listening to you." Chris said that Shanann had asked him numerous times to take pictures of them pretending to run together so that she could post it on social media, but she wouldn't actually go for the run with him. Said he started waking up early to lift weights because it was something he did every day and didn't want his routine to interfere with his time with the kiddos. Said his health was important to him and he wished that she would have been supportive and not upset. Approximately June 27th, 2018, in person, Chris brings condoms to my house. One box is full and unopened. The second is a set of condoms from a partially used box. I asked Chris why he has a set of partially used condoms. Chris informs me that the condoms he has are from back when he was still having sex with his wife. Told me that they had been sitting in a closet collecting dust. See, that's the thing, is I don't think anything in their house collected dust. Anyways, and that Shanann probably did not even know they were still there. Asked him why him and Shanann used condoms. Chris informed me that Shanann didn't like to get, quote, messy. I was curious, so I looked up the expiration date on the condoms and noted that the unopened set expired in late 2022, and the open set expired in early 2023. I looked up the lifespan of an unopened condom and discovered it is approximately 5 years. Based on my research, I assume these condoms were manufactured in 2017 and early 2018. Now, why exactly do you think she was so curious about the condoms? Like, it's just so bizarre. Right, there was no dust in that house. Yeah, what did he use before that? Who used Florida? Stop. And hello, good to see you. Yeah, what a weirdo. Does anyone really care if a box of condoms is new or opened? Really? That's a effing red flag. She's nuts. Research. I know, right? Like, what is her problem? Like, what did she really want to know? She probably thought he was cheating on her, right? And where are these condoms? Were they ever handed over? Like, because she handed over t-shirts and stuff that he had left at her place, apparently. If your condoms expired, you got other issues. She's a stalker. Hey, purple one. Condoms means they were still having sex to nutty NK. Right. Like, why does she care though? Like, that's his wife. Cheating on NK with his wife. Right. Like, oh my gosh. And hello, EE Caroline. Because Shanann was pregnant and she found out. Interesting. Right? So she like wanted to know when these were bought and being used. Yeah, and NK didn't like that. She wanted Chris as her slave. She is absolutely a whole other level of crazy. I know. Total control and domination, I think, is what drives her. Yes. I know, Angie. It's like, what the heck? Chris's attempts at being romantic are sick, making stuff of nightmares. I know, right? Who takes an open box of condoms to a new partner's house? Can't you just picture dorky Chris, like with them like under his arm, like walking in? Like, wow. I don't even know like what's crazier to imagine. Her Googling the expiration dates of the condoms or him walking in with like multiple boxes of them. Absurd. All right. Continuing on with these ridiculous notes. Okay, so we went from June 27th. Now we are jumping to July 4th. And this is the day that Chris alleges he was at her house. Shanann called, flipped out because he wasn't answering. NK's in the shower. He tells her, I gotta go. And she says, are you coming back? And he says, probably not. And then they made up. And I believe her phone pings at the house that day. So she might have gone over there to make up with him, or I don't know. You guys help me out with that. Isn't there a ping from NK on that day? Anyway, so on shortly or after July 4th, see, like these dates are very like not really precise. In person, I complimented his home being very beautiful. Okay, so she was at the home. So Chris states in the prison interview, like I said, that he left her apartment. Shanann was trying to reach out to him. He had the day off of work because it was a holiday. So she went over to his house after he told her like that he probably wasn't going to come back. I complimented his home as being very beautiful. Chris said that he has always wanted a smaller ranch-style home. Chris said that Shanann insisted on the big house because she liked to throw parties and make it look like they had everything. See, I don't see Chris saying these things. I feel like this was MK's interpretation. I asked him what type of parties he was referring to. Chris shook his head left and right and said, just expensive parties. Chris then tells me that they had the house built and the only part of the design that he had any say in was the stonework and the paint color of it on the exterior of the house. And remember, the house was brown, like her ugly brown bikini. Chris said his mortgage was $2,800 a month and he was tired of being house broke. I asked why it was so expensive. Chris said that about $500 of the $2,800 was homeowner's insurance. July 14th, in person, went to his house to drop him off after we visited the Shelby Mustang Museum in Boulder. While at his house, I felt uncomfortable, as if I did not belong there. You think? He had built a beautiful life and made me think that there was still a chance for him to fix things with his wife. I told him that I did not think it was fair to Shanann or to me that he was trying to live two lives by being in a relationship with both of us at the same time. See, this kind of contradicts her whole, like, he told me that they were getting separated. Said that I think he either needed to fix things with her and let me go, or he needed to move towards trying to finalize his divorce. Oh, now divorce is being mentioned. Interesting. I told him that I thought his problems with Shanann were fixable and that he should focus on trying to rekindle the relationship that they had before giving up. He said that Shanann was set on separating and that he was too. He said that Shanann wants something. If Shanann wants something, she gets her way. I told him I do not understand why they hadn't completed the divorce after all these months if they were both so adamant about it. After all these months, she said that it was like the separation talk was March and April. We're in July. Why would the divorce be completed at that point? If she wanted it as bad as she stated, I did not understand why it seemed stagnant. Maybe because she was in North Carolina for the summer? The heck? At this moment, I realized that he might be lying to me about the separation. So I started quizzing him on things he had told me earlier. Asked him, when was the last time he was intimate with his wife? Chris told me the day that the last time he and Shanann had sex was in May, but had told me an earlier date that the two had not been intimate since March or April. I asked Chris if he used protection when he slept with her. Does she also want to know like what position they used too? Like what the heck? Because he stated on an earlier date that he used condoms when they had sex. He told me that he had not used protection. I asked him if he was lying about his separation. Chris said no. I asked him if he was actively trying to have a child with Shanann since they had unprotected sex. He said no. I left his house. So why is she so, nosy about if they're having protected or unprotected sex? When in her interviews with Kobach, she says that she didn't know that Shanann was pregnant. She's like, I didn't know. Like, yes, you did. You were stalking this woman and it was all over her Facebook publicly. And why the heck would she need to know, like, these questions? NK was obsessed, for real. What was it any of her business? Right. Like, you realize you're dating a man who's still married. What kind of mistress even like inquires these questions? Like you're on the outside. You don't have the right to ask these questions. You're with him right here, right now. She's in North Carolina. Why do you care when the last time they were intimate? Right. She acts like she was the wife. Good God, was that the voice? It sounded like NK. I've had some years of practice, Johnny. I really did. I've had a lot of years of practice. It's terrible, isn't it? Yes, Deco, and it's good to see you. NK thought of Shanann as the other woman. Right, you're the other woman, NK. Like, get that through your head. And can you imagine, like, what do you think Kobach and Detective Baumhover were thinking reading through these notes? Right, that's true, Jace. When you're not the person cheating, I guess you feel like you have the moral high ground. Never. That's a direct quote from NK too, if you guys haven't heard that interview. All right, guys, if I am not reading your comments out loud, I've just got the other screen up for a minute. Okay, so she left his house. Approximately July 15th through July 19th, continued from the above conversation, text and person. So this is text messages between them and in person. And it's funny because it's like, we don't have your text messages, all of them with him. So we're just supposed to believe these are text messages. And what's the point of deleting your text messages and then typing up 7-page notes referring to those text messages? Why didn't you just keep the text messages if you were going to do this? Just drinking some water. Hang on, guys. All right. Pardon me. He tells me that he still wants a separation, but this time he states it is because he has never met anyone like me. Yeah, you're not kidding. Told him that he better not be doing that for me and that he needs to be leaving his current situation because it is what he and her both felt is the best for their kids and for themselves. Oh, now she cares about the children? We spoke over the next several days and spent little time together. Right. But Chris says in the prison interview that he was at your house like every day in July. But now she's trying to make it seem like, she backed away. But I did not want to be intimate with him. Chris also says in the prison interview that she wanted to have sex all the time. I kept telling him that I thought he really needed to fix things with her and not to worry about building a relationship with me anymore. Told him that I had been asked out on 2 dates since I had known him and that I didn't go on either of them and that I was stood up. So you did go on the dates, but they stood you up. And that's why you didn't go out on either of them. Oh my God. And who are these other guys? Told him that he took the respect and trust from our relationship because I felt like he was lying. Oh, suddenly he's the liar when you're actually seeing him and behind his back trying to hook up with other guys and set up dates with other guys. Okay, July 20th, continued from the above conversation. In person, we attempted to have sex 4 times that evening, and he seems mentally interested, but physically cannot perform. I asked him what the problem was. Can't you just see her standing over him? What's the problem? As if that's going to help anything. I'm in the brown bikini. What's the problem? Oh my gosh. And he kept telling me that nothing was wrong. No comment. I told him that he was quiet that day, and it seemed like he had something on his mind. I asked him if what was bothering him had to do with the conversation that occurred the previous weekend. Chris said yes. So I think she's referring to her setting up dates with other guys. Told me that initially he was mad that I had been asked out on dates, but then felt that he couldn't be mad because that would make him a hypocrite. Said what was really bothering him was that I kept asking him to try and fix things with Shanann. Chris told me that he would attempt to fix things with her when he was in North Carolina and that he didn't want to talk about it anymore while he was home. The sex from then on for the rest of the relationship was greatly reduced from 3 to 4 times daily to 1 or maybe 2 times and was not as intimate when it occurred. So you call sex in the back door not intimate. Okay. Sex no longer happened every day we hung out, but was still very frequent. I got to see your guys' conversation with this. Because the next part is her conversations with Chris while he's in North Carolina, but I got to see your guys'. I know, just like there's no words. There's literally no words. Oh. NK, you were bothering him. Oh, right, Caroline. She's like, what's going on here? She is a witch. I know. Ugliest bikini in history of bikinis, for real. Good point, Lindbergh. 234. We're at 236 watching, and nobody knows where she lives and stuff. The last time people really kind of knew was she was still in Colorado. She literally drained him. Right. Brooks 4 times. She looks like Woody from Toy Story. Oh, don't insult Woody like that. Yeah, brown is such a seductive color. I mean, don't they make all lingerie brown nowadays? Oh my gosh. I can picture her saying, take a pill, dude. I'm surprised she didn't have one on hand. Maybe he finally woke up and seen her face. He turned the lights on, maybe. I know. Like, what were they thinking reading this? Yeah, the blind dates or the dates saw her and they were like, yeah, I'm gonna go this way. She's a damn liar. Mm-hmm. Oh wow, 2 whole dates. Oh my gosh, guys. All right, back to this. Did he buy the bikini for? I don't think so. This has been sort of asked and rumored a while. Now they did go to a Victoria's Secret when they were out on one of their first dates, but Victoria's Secret stopped selling swimsuits in 2016, and they didn't bring them back until after 2018. So they apparently wanted to focus more on bras and underwear and lingerie, stop selling swimsuits. The brown swimsuit, in my opinion, looks very outdated even for 2018. It looks justice for Woody. Oh my gosh. Oh. In my opinion, her bathing suit, I don't know what you guys think in chat, men and women. It looks very like early 2000s. Like maybe like 2009, 2010. It just looked very outdated. She did the giggle and it scared the desire right out of him. Right. Tony says it looked like it came from right. It just looks very like outdated. Yeah, I can't even explain it. It wasn't a 2018 style. Looks like a Walmart bikini. Target has really good petite bikinis. It's older than dirt. Maybe she bought it at the pawn shop. Guys, stop. Oh my gosh. You guys are hilarious. Yeah, she said she was frugal, so it's probably old. Right. That's what I mean. Like she had that bikini probably since like high school. Oh my God. I know. Looks 70s style to me. And like not even as cute as like a vintage one. But why fourth hand, right? It's not even like a second hand bikini. Ah, yeah, the clothes she wore in her pictures looked very outdated and just very cheap. Maybe it was her mom's. Right? Oh my gosh. Yes, Jennifer, get rid of it. Get rid of the brown bikini. Oh my God. Whatever happened to that? Like shit. Oh my God. Yeah, it came from Sears, which has been closed for how long? I used to love Sears, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I mean, it looked very outdated. That's all I'm gonna say. But Chris picked brown for the outside of the house. He was probably loving it. And judging by the type of relations they were having, maybe brown was the best color, just in case. Sorry, guys. All right. Conversations while Chris was in North Carolina. Phone. Chris tells me that he had a conversation with his buddy Mark, who lives in San Diego. Says Mark informed him that many years ago, he believes that Shanann was responsible for a large amount of money that was embezzled from the company that Shanann and Mark both worked for and at the same time. But the company was never able to prove who did it. Now, like, why is she adding? Now, that embezzlement, I kind of go through in the documentary as shows some of the files. And it was dismissed. Like it never made it to trial. It never made it past just being presented to a judge. And the judge looked at it and was like, there's nothing here. Yeah, brown will cover the stains. Lindbergh, thanks for becoming a member. Really appreciate you. I'm glad everyone's cracking up. Oh my gosh, Jay, I can't even read that out loud. Johnny finds this all very interesting. Oh my gosh. I know. She's regretting being so open with all that now, right? She went, oh, speaking of which, look at on the screen. Just flashed on the screen. Oh my gosh. Whew. I'm like sweating from laughing so hard. Sorry, TMI. All right. Wednesday, August 8th, in person. Chris stops by the Frederick, Colorado Toyota dealership to pick up an order of touch paint and windshield wipers for my vehicle after he gets off of work. I pre-ordered the paint several weeks ago. He brings them to my house sometime between 3 o'clock and 4:30 p.m. that day. Saturday, this is the lazy dog day, the 11th. I need some water, hang on. It's too much reading this stuff. I need something stronger than water, but obviously can't. Chris told me he didn't have any extra money for a deposit on an apartment. I told him that apartments nowadays were so expensive for rent that the damage deposits have to be fairly cheap because otherwise people can't afford to move in costs. He said every time he got paid, he just watched his bank account dwindle down. Said he wished he had a way to prevent his disposable income from being spent. I told him that it was possible to divide paychecks into multiple bank accounts, and that if he considered doing that, he would need to make sure he was responsible and that his mortgage and kids and his standard monthly bills were covered first. Oh, she's just so wise, isn't she? Told him that if Shanann ever wanted child support, he would still be required by law to show proof of that income, even if it was in a second account. So, like, why is she unbelievable? And remember, she asked about his 401k, what he had in savings. I suggested that if he decided to do that, perhaps just contribute a small amount of that wouldn't impact his current living situation, but would give him a cushion for the first month's bills when he transitioned to an apartment. But that was at his discretion. How kind of you to let him manage his money how he wanted to. Monday, the 13th. So this is the day of the crime, allegedly. Text or phone. Suggested the bank account idea again after he told me that he thought Shanann was gone for the night at a friend's house. Asked him if any money was missing from the bank account. Chris said no. The 14th, Tuesday. Text. Chris told me he opened up a second bank account so he could start saving for an apartment. Now, again, she claims this is a text message. We have never seen this text message. Another text. Chris informs me his family is gone and asked me to call him when I have a chance. When I called Chris, he informed me that the cops were at his house and that he would need to call me back. I was unaware that his wife had missed a doctor's appointment, or why would you even know that to begin with? Or that his kids missed school that day, or that her friend had tried to contact her and couldn't, or that he had tried to call her and didn't get a response, or that her friend had stopped by the house earlier to check on her. Asked him why cops were there. Chris informed me that Shanann's friend, Nicole Atkinson, had called them. Chris says that the media arriving. I was confused and asked him why they were there. Chris tells me that Nicole Atkinson called the media. I asked Chris why he believed Nicole Atkinson would call the cops and media. He said Nicole Atkinson wasn't being very nice to him. Informed me that she was sitting in her car on the phone with Shanann's mom. Asked how Nicole Atkinson knew Shanann's mom. Why does that matter? She's so dang nosy. Like, I'm a nosy person, but wow. And remember, she claims that her and Troy never knew each other. So she says that Chris was on the phone with somebody about a fire stick, and Kobach says, "Did you ask who?" And she said, "I didn't ask. I didn't ask and I didn't care." Right. Just the way that she and Troy have always distanced each other from knowing each other is a red flag to me. Chris informed me that Nicole Atkinson used to work with Shanann's mom. I asked if he thought maybe Nicole Atkinson was the friend that was helping Shanann to get away for a day. Chris says no. Why would Nicole Atkinson be helping Shanann if she's the one that called the cops? I suggested, see all these suggestions about like how everything's going down. It's like you knew exactly what was going on. And you're just adding in these little like side notes and stories to make it seem like you were just scrambling to figure things out. Like, but you really knew exactly what was going on. And of course, that's my opinion. I suggested maybe it was to throw them off the trail. He did not agree. Chris asked me if he should talk to the media. Initially told him no, and then suggested that if he decided to speak to them, that maybe he could ask Shanann to bring his kids back. And it's funny because he doesn't say that in his porch interview. He says that if somebody has them, please come back, bring them home, please let them go. So interesting how she told him no, allegedly, according to her, and then gave him an idea of like what to say, like tell them or say, Shanann, please bring the kids back. He goes on the porch interview and says, if somebody has you, please let them go. So he didn't follow her suggestion. Maybe that upset people who maybe had them. Of course, theory, speculation, opinion. Oh my God, NK is evil for even saying that. I know. Right. She probably stalked Nicole Atkinson as well. Exactly. You knew exactly who these people were that Shanann surrounded herself with. Hello, Seth, and everyone else who's joined. Yeah, trying to imply that Shanann took them. And if we're going to assume that she's a liar, then why would she try to say that Shanann took them? Did she know who actually took them? Yeah, she knew everything. Right, she's so helpful. What a good detective. Was uncomfortable with him asking for my advice on the media. So I then asked him what his friends thought he should do about the media. Chris says that his friends believe that it would look bad if he didn't speak to the news and that they thought he should make a statement. And boy, did he make a statement. So this is on the phone, she's alleging. I asked Chris if the cops had attempted to search his friends' houses since he believed that Shanann had gone to stay with a friend. He told me no, they hadn't. I asked him why not, and he told me he didn't know why they hadn't. I asked him why Nicole Atkinson didn't like him. He said he wasn't sure. I asked Chris if Nicole Atkinson was married and how well he knew Nicole Atkinson and her husband. Like, it's just so ridiculous how she really tries to point the finger over at Nicole Atkinson. He informed me that he didn't know her husband hardly at all. I again suggested that maybe Nicole Atkinson was the one who may be helping Shanann to hide out from him for a while. Chris said maybe, but he didn't really seem like he was entertaining the idea. Asked him if he thought she was with another man. Chris said it was possible, but he didn't think so. I asked him if he thought his family was in danger. Chris said that if my kids are with her, then they are safe. Interesting. So if the kids aren't with her, he knows they're not safe. Never said he was worried or concerned about his family unless I prompted the question. Looking back on everything, I'm so glad Nicole Atkinson showed up that day to check on her friend. Right. I'm guessing it's actually the opposite of that statement. Looking back on everything, you're not glad that Nicole Atkinson showed up to check on her friend, in my opinion. So she's claiming that this stuff is also on the phone on that Monday, the day of the crime. Chris says his home camera shows him leaving for work at 5:15 like usual that morning. Actually, no, he left work on that camera around 5:45-ish, right, guys? He starts loading his truck around 5:15. Tells me that his home alarm notified him at 9:10 his garage door was open, but that he never received a notification on his phone that it closed again. I asked him if the garage was open when he got home from work that day, and he told me no. See, that to me is really a red flag. And that was mentioned numerous times in statements that Chris made on body camera to the cops. And the fact that they have sealed the security systems panel, like control panel, where it shows every single record and movement, that would vindicate people from being involved with Chris. And yet they've sealed it and kept us all guessing, like, well, then who shut that door? And why won't they just release that so that we can say, okay, well, I guess no one was in the house that day because it shows this, and that, and there was no activity. But they've sealed it for a reason. I asked Chris if he thought that Shanann left out the garage at 9:10 that morning. He suggested that she either left out the garage door or the back door because there is no footage of her leaving from his front door camera. Yeah, the back door. Ding, ding, ding. I asked Chris if there was any sign of forced entry, and he told me no. Told me he didn't want to keep talking about the subject and asked me to talk about something else. And then it just shows supplemental reports of her signing her phone over to them. And that is the end of her notes, guys. So let me see your guys' comments in chat. Can anyone tell me what kind of purse NK had? I wonder if it was a designer bag. She has some little black purse in her last interview on camera, but I don't know. I doubt it was designer. She did leave out the back door, in my opinion, but with who? Agree. This is another mystery question. Why was Chris's wedding suit 8 times too big for him? Maybe because his father and parents didn't go to the wedding or help get him ready for the wedding. Oh, thank you, Dan. Thanks for being here. Miss Rex, thanks for becoming a member. Appreciate that greatly. Right. Her clothes. Yeah, I don't think she intended on dating anyone, but opened that dating app to encourage Chris to make a serious move to leave Shanann. Right. Manipulate him. Make him feel a certain way. Like, oh, other guys are interested in me. But, they stood me up. So they weren't that interested. Yeah, Nicole Atkinson ruined their plan. Yeah, she sounded pissed in her interview that Nicole Atkinson called the police. She absolutely did. She absolutely did. Just looking at your guys' comments. I didn't really have anything else planned besides reading through those notes. So we can just talk about the case if you want. Yep, she played games like a teenager. Okay, I will check, Pointer Lover. Oh, thank you so much, Angie. I was reading and didn't see your super chat. So thank you very much. I can scroll up. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Pointer Lover, for letting me know. Yeah, let's wow. Yeah. Very interesting, guys. Yeah, she was better looking. She was very photogenic. And Kay sounded like a little jealous of Nicole Atkinson by all the questions she grilled Chris with. Like, who is she? Right. No, Seth. No. What am I going to do, too, if I found her? You know? I don't want to go near that evil. NK and her friend used Chris to plan on setting him up, blow up the whole place with the whole family, evidence incinerated. They would blame the company, sue, and get all the money. That pretty much sums it up, in my opinion. I really, really think that. Fracking was a very tough subject around the time, and it still is. And I believe that they were going to expose a fracking problem, just like the one that blew up the house the year prior, that mother of that family that she lost because of that fracking accident got millions of dollars from Anadarko. So I believe that political reasons, they were going to set this up and they were hoping to get money as well. It makes sense. Yes, Jay. It's been a subject that is very political. And I believe, judging by which we can't go back and source now because he's deleted it all, NK's friend had very politically charged stuff on his Facebook regarding it. Yeah. And people who are geologists and people who are like NK, and her friends, very earth loving people, and they do not support fracking. It's a very controversial thing because we've seen, and you can look this up, the Survey Ranch that those tanks were at had underground wells, like fracking wells, and they had not maintained them, and that those wells had leaked oil into the drinking water of the area. So it already had really bad effects, and it was contributed by Anadarko not maintaining them. So fracking, if you maintain it, if you do it properly and you're, on top of it, it can be a good thing. But people have seen bad effects of it leaking into drinking water, leaking into, just the ground, the ecosystem, all that they would not have wanted. You have to look it up, mystical. It's a whole different subject, but it involves oil and underground wells. And in 2017, there was an underground well near a house in Colorado that wasn't maintained, and it had broken, and no one knew because it's underground. And it started leaking fumes into this family's basement. And when they were in their basement replacing, I think it was a water heater, they were doing work in the basement. And unbeknownst to them, the house was being filled with these fumes. And so when they lit the stove or they lit something, the whole house blew up. And her husband, and I believe her brother, passed in the accident. And it was due to Anadarko, the oil company that Chris was working for, not maintaining it and cutting corners. And they were told to stay on top of their safety and to make sure that they were following protocols. And they told their shareholders and everyone, like, we're good. Then this accident took place and the family sued Anadarko and got millions of dollars. And that was April 2017. Nicole started stalking them in August 2017 online. And then, as you guys know, these murders happened August 2018. And he was attending to an oil leak at the survey site, the oil tanks that all the bodies were found at. So, coincidence? I don't think so. I really think that they were going to try and replicate something and sue Anadarko and make money off of all this. So, and yeah, sprinkled donut. She was in charge. Nicole's job was health and safety and to monitor these devices that like checked on, you know, the fumes or something, right, guys? So it is a very deep theory, but to me, it makes more sense than he killed everybody because he wanted to be with her. Like, I just think all the events surrounding it contributed to, yes, it was from fracking. Yeah. But in the description box of all my videos, I have a bunch of articles. Some of them are related to cadaver dogs, when they can pick up the decomp smell. And a lot of them are related to fracking and Anadarko's involvement in fracking and them cutting corners. They told their shareholders that they were following protocols, so people invested in the company. And then that explosion happened and the oil shares dropped and a bunch of people lost money because of Anadarko cutting corners. So then the shareholders tried to sue Anadarko because they're like, hey, you told us you were following protocols, so we invested. And then we find out you weren't. So we want our money back. But I don't know whatever happened with that. It's very deep. So you guys have to do a deep dive in your own time. What do you mean, Seth? NK was doing something to Chris other than that bikini. I'm convinced that bikini was white initially. I feel he thought the girls would be okay and they weren't a part of the original plan. I think so too. I think that he started to maybe wanted to back out the plan and they took the children as collateral and said, no, we're doing this. And if you don't follow through, you're going to lose everybody. I believe that Chris signed up for Shanann being gone initially. And then when Nicole Atkinson showed up at the door, the plan went out the window. And that's why Chris had been saying over and over that he needed to get back to work that day. And he never made it back there and the explosion never happened. Hey, Scottish Queen, and a special thanks to you as well for the gifts that you sent for the baby. I really appreciate that. If you had to make a case to someone new to the case, what would you say are the top 5 biggest red flags that NK had more to do with that? Well, for one, her stalking the family a year before they died is a huge red flag. You told us you didn't know him until April 2018 when you started working with him, and yet you were searching him on the internet in August 2017. How? If you never knew him, how are you looking him up? And then looking Shanann up after. So she searched Chris first. So that would be one. The next red flag has to do with her deleting things on her phone, not only text messages, but the day of the crime, they had phone conversations. She deleted the call logs. Why are you deleting call logs? Because you told us you deleted the messages because the lies made you delete them. He lied to you. You couldn't look at that stuff in your phone anymore, so you deleted it. But why did you delete the evidence that showed that you were calling him? So the deletion of digital evidence for sure is a red flag. Her phone ping at the house the day of the crime. I mean, it's so bad saying it out loud. But Shanann gets home at 1:48. We'll round it up to 2 a.m. Your phone pings near the house in Frederick. Only a short, 4 hours later? It was like 12 after 6 a.m. Why? Why were you pinging there when it never pinged there any other morning? Let's see, that's the third. Fourth red flag, claiming that you didn't know she was pregnant when it's all over her Facebook and we know that you stalked them and looked her up continuously. The fifth red flag is the fact that you never presented to us a time that you clocked in that morning. So you claim that you clocked out at 3:30, but you never showed us when you clocked in. Where were you the morning of the crime? So those are the 5 red flags. I believe there's way more red flags. Just the biggest F-ups of how the case was handled. Yeah, a huge F-up. Now, this has been stated by retired law enforcement. You treat every incident as if it could possibly be a murder. So Coonrod, Baumhover, other cops show up that day. The phone's there. Car seats are there. Her wallet's there. Her phone is there. But she's not there with her kids. The medications for the kids are there. Her medication is there. She's pregnant. She missed her doctor's appointment. You know, they should have treated that scene as if it could have been a murder and said, everybody out. We don't know what's going on here, but we need to treat this as if it could be worse than what we think it is. A home blew up here 5 minutes from me. It was due to fracking. A whole family died. And that's the thing too, is it happens. That's why people are so against it. So yeah, I mean, these things happen. Smash the like button and smash the like if you believe the magic bikini had nothing to do with the murder or just fit good on NK. Oh my gosh, Johnny. You're too much. So yeah, what do you guys think? Melanie agrees. Yeah, she says she gets home to her apartment at 3:30 and that Jim, her friend, was there and he could vouch for that. And then when they say, okay, so if we want to talk to Jim, it shouldn't be a problem. And she says, leave him alone, leave Jim alone. And they just say, okay, I'll never understand it. I know. Right. They let him go back to the house instead of closing it off. And he spends the entire night cleaning. Why wouldn't Chris come clean about what happened then? Because he believes that he's being a savior of the people who are involved in this crime with him by not implicating him. It's the last good deed that he can do because he's friends with people who had this plan with him. He was in love and probably still is in love with NK, who had this plan with him. And since he doesn't implicate them, he thinks that it's the only last good deed he can do as a person. And he'll just take the fall. And yeah, that too. He's an idiot. Right. Amber, the NK voice is scary accurate. I know. I'm so sorry. NK was at 2825 Saratoga Trail. I believe it. I truly do. Did Chris ever smile before the age of 30? I don't think so. In fact, I think that much like him being a chameleon and wearing multiple faces, that when he's smiling and looking happy, he's only doing it because Shanann is. See, Derek, I really don't believe, I don't know. I would say out of 100% of that prison interview, I maybe believe like 25%. Yeah, he really cares what people think of him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of flirtation between NK and the cops. or Kobach specifically, in my opinion. Any other questions, guys? We are a little past an hour. We usually go for an hour and a half, but I read through those notes quicker than I thought I would. I think she was in the house when Coonrod was there and went out the back. Definitely think that's possible. I do think that's possible. The thing too is, remember Betty, the neighbor, said that that smaller gray truck was gone around noon, right around the time Nicole Atkinson gets there. So something like, why? When Nicole Atkinson shows up, why all of a sudden is that smaller gray truck gone that was there all night long? Seth, if I can fit in a bikini next summer, because remember, I got some baby weight to lose. Maybe I would, because I'd be happy just to put a bikini on and be like, yes, I look good. That's the goal. I don't know if it'll be brown. Seeing him load the girls makes me think he did smother them like he said. His story about Bella felt real to me. A lot of people believe that. Like when he says, she asked me if the same thing that happened to Cece was going to happen to her. And she says, Daddy, no. Yes. And we can't see because it's just audio, but it sounds like he's like tearing up. I do see the shadow. I see him bend down and pick somebody up in Nate's footage. A lot of people say Cece was gone by then because he only picked up one. I think Cece was being held by NK in another frame of that video, which was way earlier. You see somebody that looks like NK holding a child. I think she was holding Cece. He was picking up Bella. And I think they left alive, the children. Well, I think they all left alive, honestly. I don't think anyone died in the house. But I think this is where I kind of I wouldn't say I disagree, because who the heck knows whose theory is right, you know? I do believe that there was some sort of truth behind that whole last conversation with Bella. I think that it was either over the phone or FaceTime and other people had them. And she says, Daddy, no. And then that was the end of it. Or it was in person before he goes back to the house when Nicole Atkinson's there. And they're saying, you're not getting the kids until you complete this plan. And somebody takes them from Chris. And she says, Daddy, no. Scottish Queen says, yes, I believe they all died at Serby. Paul doesn't see anything. And like, I don't see some things that other people see. So the only things that I can officially say that I see in Nate's footage is him loading his truck. I don't see a dead body of Shanann. I don't see him lifting a heavy body. I see him load a gas can, and I see him pick up a shadow. Those are the only concrete things I can say I see in that footage. Adana believes they all died at Serby as well. I think they all went to Serby the day before, and he had helped digging the hole, or NK dug, which is why her car was seen or reported on the side of the road. There is a white SUV that was seen at 1:30 in the morning before Shanann gets home Sunday near the highway, and it was called in as suspicious. Yeah, everyone has their own opinion, for sure. And that's the thing about this case is, without a trial, without more information with their cell phone records and the lab results and what was found underneath their nails, all the victims, because we know they took the clippings. No one in this chat can say that their theory is right and that someone else's is wrong. You just can't. And I feel like that's what kind of makes these conversations interesting, because someone could say something and I could say, I could see that. I could see that definitely being a possibility. Things happened in the basement. Chris said NK entered the basement so she wouldn't get caught on camera. When did he say that? But yeah, I do think that things happened in the basement. I do think that they were walking through the basement windows. Cadaver dogs also barked in the basement. Yes, they showed interest near the bed that was in the basement. They brought in a second cadaver dog to confirm the hit, but the second cadaver dog did not confirm it. So it's kind of like wishy-washy, but it seems like there was interest in the basement. That's kind of what I think too, that there's this one still frame image of somebody other than Chris that looks like they're carrying something. And it looks to me like NK carrying one of the kids. A lot of people think that Cece was gone before they left the house and that he tried to kill her and it happened twice. And this whole she was walking around brain dead. I'm sorry, but can anyone walk around brain dead? That theory came from Cadle, I believe. And it just makes no sense to me. I think NK and somebody else harmed the girls and put them in the tanks. I think so too. I hope that doesn't annoy people. It doesn't take blame away from Chris. I don't know, guys. And this bombshell information that was given to the district attorney, I believe that NK firsthand knew or saw the girls go in. And she got to the cops before Chris did and told them, Chris told me he did this. When really she had seen it happen or participated in it. I can't say 100%. And because she said that he told her, they said, okay, you're going to be our witness and we're going to run with that. And they were able to recover the bodies. I agree, Amber. If you see human life, one of the children, you'd without doubt see him struggling to lift. Yeah. And why, knowing that the neighbors had cameras, like I know Chris is dumb, but there's no way he would be carrying his dead wife out in a sheet in the front yard, especially with Betty going to the gym for the brown bikini. Thank you, Seth. Oh, yes. Now I got to get to the gym and make sure I can find a brown bikini as soon as the baby's out. But do you guys get what I'm saying about her saying Chris told me he put them in here? Yeah, I don't see him hurting the girls. But yeah, I definitely believe he had resentment. He was done with Shanann, no doubt. I believe Chris signed off of the girls when he left that note in North Carolina that said, if anything happened, or I would never hurt my kids, or whatever it says. If anything happens to them, investigate my wife. I think he was told at that point, if you don't follow through with our plan, we're killing your kids too. And NK said, if they find out about me and you, they're going to come after me. So we got to make sure that something's in place so that they know, like, I'm not involved. And so he left that note. I kind of went deeper into it in a different live stream with the note on the thumbnail, if you guys want to find it. People claim to have the unredacted discovery, but I've never seen it. And other YouTubers have said, I have a different discovery. We've checked it. Teresa Criminality and I have looked at it and we're like, no, it's the same. So no, I don't know. I wish somebody could present it because there was pictures in there of like the thermometer, of the chicken on the grill, other things that have just disappeared. Did you delete me as a member? No, you're here. See that little circle with like the 2 lines in it next to your name? That means you're a member. I don't think anyone was killed in the house. Maybe sedated, then taken out. Me too. This district attorney is dirty. No doubt. Paul, I can't say 100%. I know that's been theorized. In my opinion, it's Chris's handwriting. We've compared it to other writings of his. It looks just like his. But as far as like it being shown up and stuff, I don't know. Or him being told to write it. Do not know. All I know is Jamie and Cindy did not like Shanann. That is known. He asked to see Nate's camera position to see where it looked into, saying tools were stolen. He was making sure what he needed to perform on that morning in front of Nate's camera. Right. So another reason why I don't think he would carry them out the front. Yeah, she had attacked someone, yep, with a knife. And she was arrested for a DUI and also disorderly conduct. Yes, they took the pictures out. And why? I do too. I know there's so many good pictures of them. Agree, Seth. Absolutely. Chris just went out front to make it look like he was the only one there when everyone was going out the back. No, Lindbergh, you're still here. We would never block for opinions related to politics. The only thing that we would really block is if you're like bashing me. Anything really goes and should go in the chat. Like, yeah. And honestly, that reminds me, somebody left me a comment saying, how dare you run it was for whatever her name is, Kamala, ad on your channel, blah, blah, blah. YouTubers don't pick the ads. The creators do not pick the ads that run. And yet everyone sees you, so you're definitely not blocked. Right. No brown bikini bashing. No, you weren't blocked. We might not put something through chat that has any of them commented because it's just, yeah, I have no choice on the ads. And yes, YouTube censors. So I don't know what your comment said, but you would never be silenced for commenting on Kamala or Trump. But we do kind of like to keep things not political. It has really nothing to do with what our discussion is. We like to keep things on topic. But yeah, we have freedom of speech in here. So as long as you're not being rude to me. Yeah, we see you. So, all right. Well, I mean, we just had one that came through right now from Neil. I want to keep our chat kind of on topic. So there's really not that I have anything against it, but like we don't really need to be bringing up politics. So if you could just respect that, I just want to keep things to the case. Yeah, there's really no need to be talking politics here. Not, you can, we're not going to block you, but I like to keep things on point because it's kind of distracting to me. Yeah. Thank you, Seth. Brown bikini 2020. Right. Why can't I be rude to you, Amber? You're violating my First Amendment rights. Is it because I'm not American? Were you here last night, Planet Chase, when people were being rude to me and plugging other channels and then got mad that we didn't want that to happen in chat either? Like, keep things on topic. Oh, thank you, Paul. MAGA, make Amber great again. Oh, is that because I'm fat and pregnant? No, just kidding. The president could be who might reopen the case. Oh, they need to get rid of Rourke. Okay, Lindbergh, I get it, but like, please respect our wishes to keep things on topic. Oh, Seth, I had to flip out on somebody last night. Oh, you're in Iceland. All right. Yeah, I think we all know Scottish Queen. Can't say it because YouTube will literally censor me. But I can tell you it was not Oswald. They were just, we were talking about Gypsy. Of course, this has nothing to do with Watts, but we were talking about a case. They were coming in saying that my opinion wasn't as good as other channels and then listed off the other channels to watch. And I said, that's rude. Like, why are you plugging other channels? And then somebody commented saying, I can't even remember, but their comment got deleted because it was, I don't even remember, but they just flipped out and then was like, forget it. I'm just going to watch these other channels. And I said, then go watch them. Oh, Seth. Yes. He's calling the baby registry the link for his nephew. Thank you, Adana. That's a whole other topic, Neil, but I definitely, there's more to that than what it seems, for sure. And of course, I can't talk about that either, or YouTube will silence me, which is absolutely ridiculous. But let's face it, if they're silencing you over an opinion, it's probably right. Very sad. Any other questions on the case, the Watts case, guys? Yes, exactly, Cindy. And I know everyone in this chat has different opinions, and I love that. Where is the mistress? Any questions that I can answer, Swifty? I just don't know. I mean, like I said, the last public search that we did had her still in Colorado working for her father. And that was years ago. You know, why would she change her name? The evidence on NK is probably in all the DNA evidence and stuff that they never finished processing. She's at the brown bikini factory, cracking the whip. I see somebody other than Chris carrying a child in one frame in the very beginning. I do. But it's very hard to see. Yeah, we need a Vivint insider. We need them to unseal those records. If you want to say that no one else was in the house other than Chris and Shanann that morning, and that Shanann left with Chris when he left, why would you seal the records? We see in what we do have of the Vivint records that the garage door was left open and that the basement door was left open. I did a video on this. If you look in the body cam, when they first get to the house, the basement door is shut. So not only did the garage door shut, but the basement door was also shut after he had gotten an alert, which also appears on Shanann's phone too, that the basement door was left open. So who shut them? Somebody else was in that house, in my opinion. Crackdown, there is court proceedings that were public record that show that she did change her name legally. So she absolutely did change her name. We just don't, it's just been sealed what her new name is. There's a channel called Crime Talk with a lawyer called Scott Rice. And he was following this case closely because he's a lawyer in Colorado. And is there a way to put that picture of somebody carrying the baby up? Scottish Queen, do you have that picture? I probably won't be able to do it tonight. Maybe the next live stream I can show it. I don't know if you guys can hear my little one singing the ABCs out there. Oh, Seth, that's too kind. Because she probably had to get a face transplant too. But anyways, Scott Rice was trying to get to the courts and find out her name change or you know, all that. And he was kept out. So she definitely changed her name. And she changed her name. What was it, guys? The same month that that Netflix documentary came out. This is boring. Then why are you here? You must be bored if you have to troll a chat saying that this is boring. Yeah, Scott Rice went to her house. Did he? I didn't know that. The trolls. And what's funny, Seth, is I put it on subscriber mode to help keep the trolls out. So this person subscribed to my channel, waited 5 minutes because you can't comment until you're 5 minutes, like here, just to say that this is boring. So I'm boring and you have no life, apparently. I don't know anything about Zawoki having a picture of NK. This is too exciting. I am dangerously overstimulated. Yeah, maybe it was NK. Right, or her friend. You are not boring. The Netflix was. Is that what they were talking about? Now I don't know who's trolling me or who's talking about Netflix. All right, guys. I think we've hit our max of discussion for this week. We can obviously continue more of this chat next week. I want to work on editing a certain video I have in mind regarding this case. So if I get through editing that, I can upload it. It's going to be a video, not a live stream. So I have a concept of stuff I want to put together and I can share it as a video. I'm not sure when I can kind of get all that done, but if you see a video come out by me regarding this case, you know, please watch it. I forgot that I actually brushed my hair so I can go on camera. All right, guys. Again, I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate all the conversations and donations, the gifted memberships, the membership banners, just showing how long you've been here for. Really love it. The pic I was typing, I didn't hear what pic you asked to find. Remember that pic that we have in our group that we believe is a still frame of NK walking out of the garage holding a child? People want to see that. All right, guys. So I'll try to get that out and show you guys next time. The problem with the pic is we've had to put filters on it to kind of clear it. And as soon as we put filters on something, people kind of get all like questionable of like, well, you know, this has been altered, which I totally get because I'm the same way. If somebody shows me a picture and I notice that it has a filter over it or it's been modified, I'm kind of like, but is this what it is? Because this isn't the original. So that's the only issue with it. So I'll lay that out straight up and say, you know, think what you want of this image when I can share it with you guys, but I will be transparent and say that we've altered it because we needed to see it. We zoomed in, etc. The 5 minutes was an eternity. Well, I appreciate you being here and commenting. We are done. So I do have, there's more than just one still frame of NK there. Okay. I'm sure there is. I'm just referring to the best one that I've seen. Stop. Because of the voice replication being so on point. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Oh my gosh. But okay, guys, so I have a new outro. For those who didn't see it last night, I will be showing it again tonight. Usually pull up your comments, but I'm just going to leave them off so that you can get the full effect. Join me tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, we're going to finish the Sarah Boone interrogation, listen and react. Thank you for all the comments and chat, guys. Appreciate you guys. Again, I can't thank you guys enough. Even if you just hit the like button, you're greatly appreciated here. And yes, I will see you guys tomorrow night, hopefully, or next Thursday for another Watts deep dive. So goodbye, guys.